This is the
Welcome to
Neoliberal
another episode of the
podcast.
Neoliberal podcast. I have an article that was recently published in the Jamaica Gleaner that I want to share with you. It is entitled, uh, if I could find it, I just actually was on it reading just now. It is entitled, hmm, when you type in poverty in Jamaica, it's right at the top. It's at the top. When you type in poverty in Jamaica, it's at the top.
What?
When you type poverty, when you go to Google and type in poverty in
Poverty?
Jamaica, yeah.
What, neoliberal?
No, the Gleaner, well, the Jamaica Gleaner.
Oh, okay.
The first thing that comes up is poverty statistics.
So
Count-
neoliberals
Counting eggs before they are laid.
Neoliberal need to post
No, that's fine.
topics.
No, because they mentioned my book in the article, and that's my niche market, And I was just talking about that. The article published in the Jamaica Gleaner starts like this. The editor, Madame. Prime Minister Andrew Holness recently announced that Jamaica's poverty rate has been cut in half, now reportedly standing at 8.2%. Now, while this headline grabs attention, it warrants deeper scrutiny, not celebration. Especially during an election year or an election cycle where optimism can be weaponized and statistics selectively interpreted. As an academic and author of Neoliberalism, Globalization, Income Inequality, Poverty and Resistance, I have long studied the metrics and myths that surround poverty reporting in post-colonial economies. Now, first of all, I did not know that the Gleaner, Jamaica Gleaner, was going to publish this article.
You did?
Or that I thought they were going to redact the part where I talk about as an academic, the author part. But I wrote out my book in the article, and they kept it. Boy, I'm going to do an article. I'm going to do one. Yeah, touche. Thank you, Jamaica Gleaner. And I'm going to do an ad in the Jamaica Gleaner probably next week. Maybe next week, and pay them some money because they're promoting me, and I want to, one hand washes the next. But the Gleaner Company, that's where I started my writing career. The first ever article I ever wrote was in the Jamaica Gleaner, and I was 21 years old. Mm-hmm. And they published it. And I wrote and I've been writing ever since. And it was a letter of the day. I don't even remember the name of the article because I can't find it. It's not coming up. It was something about, I don't know, something about, it was about ethics. It was an ethical issue, an ethical dilemma. Something about an ethical dilemma. But anyways, the article continues as an academic and author of Neoliberalism, Globalization, Income Inequality, Poverty and Resistance. I've long studied the metrics and myths that surround poverty reporting in post-colonial economies.
That shot was kind of warming.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get another one after we finish this this is a deep part. Jamaica is no stranger to fluctuations in poverty. We've had moments of apparent prosperity before. I mean, we have had moments of apparent prosperity before, only for them to unravel quickly due to geopolitical shifts, natural disasters, external debt obligations, IMF structural adjustments, and internal governance issues. Of course, I've talked about that in my book, Neoliberalism, which is a textbook for Caribbean thought at the college I teach in Jamaica Theological Seminary. Now, the real question is this. What methodology underpins this 8.2% figure? Because they said Jamaican poverty rate is now 8.2%. This a significant drop from 16.7% in 2023. Now it's at 8.2%.
That's
So what methodology are they using to arrive at this figure? Are we still measuring poverty solely by average income per day?
Right.
Like $2 a day, $2.50 per day. If the average income per day, if Jamaicans earn $2.50 per day, they're not poor. Okay, the average Jamaican, and that
in American money.
Yeah, the average, right, $2.50 per day, they're not poor. That's according to Jamaica, right, which makes however. But anyways, are we still measuring poverty solely by that, which is a narrow and outdated standard? Or are we accounting for productive capacity, sustainable employment, access to social goods, and resilience against economic shocks? This is, let me ask again, are we accounting for productive capacity? In other words, how productive are Jamaicans, the average Jamaican? One. And two, two, sustainable employment. The average Jamaican, how are they able to sustain their their income? And is it through the informal sector or the informal sector? Third, access to social goods and resilience against economic shocks. If the world was to have another OPEC, are we still going to have an 8.2%? Or if we're to have another COVID? Now, poverty, and let me say this, poverty is more than a number. It's about whether Jamaicans it's about whether Jamaicans cannot only survive, but thrive. It's not just about surviving, but thriving. And that requires policies rooted in long-term vision, not short-term optics. Fellow academics, policymakers, and journalists should not take this statistic at face value. Hard questions need to be asked. So we must investigate the data and we must demand transparency. Now, this is not cynicism, it's responsibility. We cannot afford to count eggs before they are laid, especially if there may be no eggs at all. Again, let me say this again. This is not cynicism, it's responsibility. We cannot afford to count eggs before they are laid, especially if there may be no eggs at all. This article is published in the Jamaica Gleaner, dated, and I want to thank the Jamaica Gleaner for publishing this, dated May 23, 2025. What day is today? Is today the 23rd?
Yeah.
It was published today at 12:06 a.m. No, I'm not. That was powerful. And by the way, I heard that the poverty, well, this is quite interesting, that it's really the PIOJ is reporting this, and the Prime Minister of Jamaica is saying that because of what the Jamaican government has done to help to reduce the poverty rate has been quite remarkable. In the 1970s, 80s, and 90s, under the IMF, when they were hamstringed in a sense, they could not provide social welfare programs in the way that they wanted to. They could not employ government initiatives that would help to bolster employment in the ways that they wanted to. They could not explore development opportunities with other countries like China in the ways. But now, with the relationship with China, not necessarily with the IMF or the US, but with China, and China modernizing the Jamaica and investing in Jamaica, it's opening up a lot of opportunities for Jamaicans. So the Prime Minister might be right in a sense, because it's what's happening there. And the fact that also that Jamaican government have invested significantly in employment, in providing employment to Jamaicans. But the thing is, a lot of Jamaicans are still heavily dependent on remittances from people from overseas, from post-industrial countries. So, if you were to take away the remittances, then Jamaica, so this 8.2% would quadruple to probably 29-30%. So the 8.2% is on shaky grounds, because when I read the PIOJ, they talk about the fact that many households are surviving and thriving because of the remittances, although remittances decrease slightly after COVID, from COVID up to now. Remittances is still a significant. It's still a significant one of the top three earners in Jamaica. In fact, in many cases, Jamaican government can't even measure some of the remittances that come into Jamaica. But a lot of remittances flow into Jamaica. A lot of money flow into Jamaica from the US and from the UK, where Jamaicans are, from the diaspora. And that's where a lot of the poverty figures are also benefiting from that. And of course, a lot of call centers, Chinese investment in Jamaica has quadrupled over the last 5 years. So that is also, over the last, so they're talking about government initiatives. But what has happened over the last 2 to 3 years? So the Prime Minister might be right. What has happened over the last 2 to 3 years in Jamaica? Because poverty was at 16%. But you find over the last 2 to 3 years, there's been a heavy investment in Jamaica from China. So, and that has created the significant reduction, because that has created a lot of employment. A lot of people are working in Jamaica. So yes, this is, but what? So, and then Jamaica and China doesn't look like it's about to slow down unless the US has something to say about that. But Jamaica, and if the US is now also want to invest in Jamaica and beat out, there's going to be a competition between the industrial countries, the post-industrial countries, in terms of investing in Jamaica, because Jamaica seems to be a very unique area in the Americas. And I believe that many investors are going to be flocking to Jamaica, and the UK, Canada, China, all these countries are going to be competing. This is the Neoliberal podcast. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe. This is the Neoliberal Round Weekend. And joining me in the background was Montel, one of our logo designers. And just so you know, we are expanding our business here at the Neoliberal. If you want logo design, we do logo designs. We do logo designs here at the Neoliberal. Please call us at 445-260-9198. Get a copy of the book. It's on sale directly from us. Visit our store page, store.neoliberal.com. and go online and check out our book. We have a new book that's coming out, Castro Filed Motion to Strike. It's a serious story about a very important gentleman who was running for president, but for some reason they wanted to get him out of the way, and now he finds himself in federal prison. But we are going to talk about this later on. We will talk about it. We haven't talked about it in length, but we will have a show where we talk about this at length, and we will read the motion. The Neoliberal Podcast. Water.
I'm recording.
No, don't record.
No, that's fine. Hi everyone, I'm Renaldo, McKenzie, the author of Neoliberalism, Globalization, Economic Equality, Poverty and Privilege.